This is the Department of Public Outreach and Foreign Affairs. Today we will be interviewing Dr. Theron Sherman, Director of Site 42. Commencing audio in 3, 2, 1.
You ready?
Whenever you are.
What made you choose the name Dr. Sherman and your subsequent nicknames based off it?
So historically, I have always used the same internet handle, which is THEE Sherm, the Sherm. It's just the handle I use when interacting with websites because my IRL first name is Sherman, which is a unique name. And when writing for the SCP Wiki, I would use the Sherm handle. And when I started Site 42, I was still just using the Sherm as my handle for everything. And the SCP-049 article went under a rewrite between DJ Cactus, very prominent author on the website, and then another member, the original writer of 049, who has since been banned for predatory behavior, as you'll get in these internet communities sometimes. So when they rewrote that article to improve its quality, they wanted to get voice actors. And because I was doing SCP readings at the time, they called me in to voice one of the researchers. And as a thank you for doing so, because it wasn't a paid effort, they named him Theron Sherman, the Sherm. So that was in, 2018 or 2019. And then over the pandemic, I started Site 42's TikTok account, and using my previous theater and Renaissance Fair experience, I started in-character acting as a researcher, and I decided that using the Dr. Theron Sherman character was a natural fit. And so I adopted my author avatar as my in-character persona as well.
Okay. Do you think podcasters or content creators should use stage names or nicknames when making their content like you did? Do you think it makes much of a difference?
So I, as a personal stance, think that the anonymity of the internet goes a little too far. A lot of people are apt to hide behind handles and do bad things, but also the anonymity protects people. And so everyone's situation is different, but especially if you're getting into professional acting, you'll want to be in a situation where it's easy to find a way from your platform to your actual name.
Okay.
And especially when you're using something fictionalized, like when I'm doing in-character SCP work, definitely. Then you want to use an in-character persona, whereas you get more out-of-character kind of review stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Thank you for that question. The next question will be...
So, what was your thought process prior to posting SCP-related content online?
So, as I have always wanted to be a professional actor, that has been my life goal for a career. And unfortunately, I did not exactly have a good education on how to accomplish that. I kind of bumbled my way through my early 20s. But one of those things I did was I was a wedding singer for about a year. And to be a wedding singer, you at the very least need your own microphone to go out and be with the band. And so after I quit that gig, I still had a decent, nice singing microphone. And I thought, okay, well, I can use this to record some voiceover demos, and then that'll help me get future gigs. And I wanted to put those demos online so they'd be easy to find and link to people. And so on YouTube, so I wouldn't get copyright struck for reading other people's stories, I used SCP because it was Creative Commons. It just so happened, a year after posting those demos, I looked back at them and saw that a couple thousand people had watched the videos because they were decent. And so that actually accidentally turned me onto making SCP content on purpose from that point on.
I see. So then what got you into SCP?
It is the strangest thing. I cannot remember how I found the website. I know that back in 2016, I was using SCP for one-shots in a D&D long-term campaign I was running. And between the modern day stuff in the wizards and werewolves and things that we would do in there, I would once in a while bring all of these magic characters into an SCP facility because they are in fact anomalous and someone would want to contain them. And so I was using SCP in this game in 2015, 2016. I just don't for the life of me remember how I found it.
That's quite interesting. Are there any SCPs that come directly to mind when SCP is mentioned? Like maybe your favorite ones?
For me, my favorites, I always have the same 7 favorites, and they are 3043, which is Murphy Law, a film noir focused SCP, and it's very meta. 3999, which is a reality bending SCP that's very meta based on the very similar in surreality to House of Leaves in structure. 008-J is a dude named Jeff who accidentally breaks into Foundation facilities and escapes every time, and it's just really funny. Spooky-J is a skeleton who can teleport and is just a real douchebag to Foundation staff, and it's really funny, and he yells a lot. 5175 is the Death Knife, and it is a knife with the soul of a samurai in the hands of a weeaboo mall cop, and they have to train him to be a decent wielder of the knife. 5031 is yet another murder monster, which is this very touching look at how the Foundation in the early series used to just like lock things in a box and not care for them all, and these things would just murder everyone who touched them. And then in the modern day, the researcher decides, oh, if we're nice to this anomaly and we teach it, will it be better? And eventually they teach it to speak, and they teach it to play piano and write concertos, and they teach it to cook Michelin star meals. And it is the most heartwarming SCP of all time. And finally, my last favorite of the 7 is 5320, which is an infinite fish that the Foundation is studying, but the staff who are assigned to it are so bored that they start making jokes about it, and the Foundation believes they've been brainwashed because they can't tell the difference between jokes and a mimetic effect. Those are my personal favorites.
Okay. So next question is, do you encounter any obstacles or difficulties when starting out your content?
So, I think the hardest obstacle to content is just like any other job, finding the will to do it. Sometimes you just want to rest and hang out, and especially in content creation, when you are your own boss and you are the one who decides when you work and sets everything up and builds your process, it's very easy to slack off when you are not beholden to anyone but yourself. On the other hand, you have ideas and you want to make art, and it's actually fun to do this job that you enjoy doing. So sometimes you work 7 days a week, 12 hours a day, just because you have more ideas and you can make more videos. And the more you do it, the faster you grow. So why not do it all the time and take no days off and have an unhealthy work-life balance?
Yeah, I agree with that. So we noticed that you use both YouTube and TikTok. So which social media platform do you think is easiest for the common podcaster to use to grow faster or gain more traction?
So every social media platform has its strengths and weaknesses. As a podcaster, you're gonna fare better on YouTube just because it's made for long form content. And TikTok is trying to get into a little bit of that, but it's still got the same scrolling ADHD run syndrome. So unless you have some very entertaining clips, it's going to be hard for TikTok to help you. Especially if there's no visual element, because if it is just audio or just a picture, TikTok is going to swipe by immediately.
Okay. Yeah, I agree with that too.
Are there any tips you could give to a new podcasters or content creator interested in finding their niche in SCP related content?
So for new podcasters and content creators, in general, my advice is always the same, which is just start making things, because I myself am a perfectionist and had to break through the fact that no project is ever finished. You've got to just get something out the door and start working on the next thing. And when you make things, the next thing will be better. If you look at my initial podcast readings, they are cringe, they are terrible. And we cope with that the best we can because our new ones are better. But you make more, you learn more about the platform, and you get better. So for all content creators, make things, keep making them, keep digging away. For SCP specifically, SCP and other niches are very helpful to a young creator because they have a built-in audience. And so rather than just languishing with your original content that no one is interested in because they don't know about it, any niche is going to help you with its pre-built audience, as long as you understand that it is going to be 3 to 5 to 10 years before anyone cares about you enough for you to spin off of that niche. Make sense?
Yeah. So then, is it worth it to try to find a corner in the SCP genre, or would it just be better to find a better topic?
So it depends on what you're interested in. For me, the horror genre has always appealed to me. I have a past. One of my many jobs is I was a scare actor at Busch Gardens Howl-O-Scream, Tampa. For like 5 or 7 years, I did the haunted house circuit there. And I've always appreciated horror movies. It's science fiction and horror are just a genre that speak to me. And the Creative Commons and SCP vibe just really works for me as a creator. And my other passion, getting into filmmaking and content creation, that just blends really well, especially in this fandom where the best films we have had are things like Evan Royalty's Dollhouse and Overlord, and Mr. Clay and Dark Math Films is 096. There is so much potential for storytelling in series, but we just need more actors, more directors, more tech people, more producers. And with my background in film and theater and my passion for the things, I see that being able to be very easily intertwined on the long term. But for most people, they would have to make the decision if what they want to do meshes. So it's more like try and find the way you can fit a niche, and if it fits, you can use it. And if not, you should either find a different niche or do something else.
I see. Since you mentioned a lot of SCP creators, do you consider the SCP genre competitive or oversaturated?
It is definitely not oversaturated. There was a moment in time, the last couple of years, where several content farms, such as infographics, such as The Rubber, such as Detective Void, did decide to try and take advantage of the SCP niche in a way I would consider not beneficial. Where their main goal was that SCP is a popular fandom, we have companies that hire freelance animators at the cheapest possible rate, and we're going to churn out weekly, poor quality videos as fast as we can and milk it for views. And as they were coming in with a very high ability to work compared to the independent creators, they did thrive very quickly, and they very quickly overshadowed the independent creators and got millions of subscribers very quickly. But that also brought every one of us that were working at the time, we stopped getting featured in Google searches for SCP completely. And so besides like the Volgan, who was already big enough to survive at that point, several of us smaller creators got choked out at that moment and were worried about our futures. And that has only started to stave off in the last year, where the views for The Rubber and Detective Void have really cratered. And SCP as a community of artists has come back to being a very well supported and competitive community where people can get in and new people can start with a bang very quickly. And as long as you're not breaking the ethics of the community, working with other people in a friendly manner, team ups, trying to create quality work and honor the spirit of the SCP community and the stories that you're adapting and giving proper credit, then other community artists are going to help you out. And so not only is it not oversaturated, but we're also very both competitive, but also collaborative.
I see.
Okay, that was actually really helpful. Thank you so much. So that's the end of the interview. Thank you so much for taking your time and making these thoughtful responses for us.
Happy to help.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, you guys have a good class, and I'm glad I could be of assistance.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Thanks.
Cheers.
End of audio file.